We need to take these people on. They are often connected to big drug cartels. They are not just gangs of kids anymore. They are often the kinds of kids that are called super predators. No conscience, no empathy. We can talk about why they ended up that way, but first we have to bring them to heel.
Donald J. Trump is calling for, now listen, you got to listen to this one because this is pretty heavy stuff, and it's common sense, and we have to do it. Remember the poll numbers. 25%, 51%. Remember the poll numbers. Okay?
Senator Obama's support among hardworking Americans, white Americans, is weakening again.
When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're not sending you. They're not sending you. They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us.
Hi, I'm YingTung.
Hi, I'm McKayla.
And here we are going to teach you how to not to be a racist.
This will be a long journey. We know it will be difficult.
But all aspects of life will be improved if we give up our stereotype assumption and work to dismantling institution racism.
If we could work together and properly communicate across racial lines, then we can start to understand what can really be accomplished when we are unified behind the same goal.
Forming unions, building organizations, working at the same environment, revolutions, all of this we can be easier if we just sit back and listen to each other.
Luckily, we've been provided with an unbelievable amount of examples of how exactly not to communicate across race from the two presidential candidates of 2016.
Racism used to be seen just as person-to-person acts of aggression. We now understand that racism is an institution force. It is something rooted into our society and in our language.
Donald Trump has been successful because of the coded language that he uses that appeals to the subconscious racism in most of America. When he uses terms like the blacks, or when he equates Muslims with violence, even though most violence is actually perpetrated by white men, he's doing it to reach into the subconscious levels of everything that we've been taught since elementary school. All of our systems from the very beginning of America have been based off systems of oppression. So either oppression of queer communities, women, people of color, the poor. All of these systems have never been radically challenged, regarding slavery or other disenfranchising forces. Since they've never been radically challenged, things stay the same. That's some fucked up shit.
That's why things seems to be normal, but it becomes racist.
We've normalized racism. We see disproportionate numbers of people of color in poverty and see it as just the way things are, instead of recognizing it as a systemic cause and effect that reaches all the way back to slavery.
America and all other capitalist countries were built on the concept of divide and conquer. If you keep certain disenfranchised communities fighting each other, they can't band together and demand equal rights.
If you are poor, it isn't because an immigrant stole your job. It's likely because some rich CEO decided he could make more profit from the outsourcing or automating your job, and that was more important than your livelihood.
If we want a better life, it won't come from treating people of color like crap. We've been doing that for centuries, and guess what? Things haven't gotten better.
We have to listen to each other, build coalition, understand that everyone has been taught to be a racist, but that doesn't mean we have to continue this way. We just want to leave you a few easy points to keep you from doing something racist.
First, remember that the words you use are important. If your language is rooted in racism, such as the phrase, the blacks, it might be a good time to start expanding your vocabulary.
Second, you don't get to decide if what you say is racist. If a person of a color is telling you that you are being racist, you should take their words for it.
People of color have been dealing with racism for years. They probably understand it best.
Next, it is important to respect differences, not ignore them. If we can't see race, then we can't see racism. The needs of the black communities, which are different from the need of the Latino communities.
In the late 60s, Fred Hampton was able to unite Chicago gangs, which are segregated by race, with class consciousness to stop the violence. He was able to show them that they continued to fight with each other, they would be perpetrating that poverty that existed already. It is a good example of the kind of cross-racial communication that we can have today.
To sum it up, care about your community.
Also care other communities.
And don't be a dick.
Ready for revolution.
The average black male live a third of his life in a jail cell, cause the world is controlled by the white male, and the people don't never get justice, and the women don't never get respected, and the problems don't never get solved, and the jobs don't never pay enough, so the rent always be late. Can you relate? We living in a police state.